Hey friends, welcome to Ivy's Furnitures. I'm Ashante, your reading friend, and in the background you can hear Sophie panting. So she just had some outside time trying to catch her breath, and I hope that she'll take a little rest and stop panting soon. But you never know with dogs. They operate on their own time and schedule, and I love her anyway. So without further ado, here is our book, The House on East 88th Street by Bernard Waber. This is a Lyle Crocodile book, and it's published by HarperCollins Publishers. Okay? But before we get started, let's sing our welcome song. So get your friends' fingers ready. 1, 2, 3, go. Hey there, friends. Hey there, friends. Welcome to Ivy's Fortress. Hey there, friends. Hey there, friends. Welcome to Ivy's Fortress. I'm glad that you are here with us. I'm happy that you're near. Come along for our adventure. It'll bring you lots of cheer. Hey there, friends. Hey there, friends. Welcome to Ivy's Fortress. Hey there, friends. Hey there, friends. Welcome to Ivy's Fortress. Now she's checking on me because I cannot seem to keep my voice in check. I got a little raspy there. I still am. So maybe the allergies are getting to me because I spent some time outside too. I tried to cut my grass, well, my family's grass, and couldn't figure out how to turn on the lawnmower. So maybe we'll try again another day or let somebody else do it. Who knows? But what are we here for? I'll read aloud. So let's get reading with Sophie. Okay? I'll try my best to make sure. Okay, you gotta calm down. She's sitting in my lap. Okay, enough. Okay, all right. The House on East 88th Street by Bernard Waber. The first book about Lyle Crocodile. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. Listen, it's the sound of Lyle Crocodile. At first a bit shocked to find a crocodile in the bathtub of their new home on East 88th Street, the Prims soon welcomed Lyle as a part of their family. Lyle is a helpful around the house, a wonderful playmate, and the friendliest crocodile you'll ever meet. But when the mysterious Hector P. Valentini, star, stage, and screen, returns to whisk his crocodile away, Lyle and the Prims wonder, will they ever share the house on East 88th Street again? The House on East 88th Street by Bernard Waber. This is an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Clarion Books. This book was published in 1962, so it's a few decades older than me and my daughter Ivy, and of course Sophie over here. So if you see that the language is a little bit different than what you're used to hearing, then hey, it seems like everybody needs me this very moment. This is the house on East 88th Street. It is empty now, but it won't be for long. Strange sounds come from the house. Can you hear them? Listen. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. I don't see anything abnormal. It began one sunny morning when the citywide storage and moving truck company pulled up to the house on East 88th Street and unloaded the belongings of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph F. Prim and their young son, Joshua. It was a trying day for everyone. Mrs. Prim just couldn't decide where to put the piano, and Mr. Prim's favorite pipe was accidentally packed away in one of dozens of cartons lying about. Swish, swash, sploosh, splash. Loudly and clearly, the sound now rumbled through the house. "It's only a little thunder," Mrs. Prim assured everyone. When a city-wide storage and moving van carried in their potted pistachio tree, everyone rejoiced. The truck was at last empty. The movers wished them well and hurried off to their next job for the day. "Now I'm going to prepare our lunch," announced Mrs. Prim. "But first, I want to go upstairs and wash these grimy hands." Swish, swash, splash, sploosh. A puzzled Mrs. Prim stopped to listen. By and by, her ears directed her to the bathroom door. "What can it be?" she asked herself as she opened the door. It's a crocodile! Whew. I don't know if I would be too calm. The next moment found them flying off in different directions. "Help! Help!" Mrs. Prim cried out as she struggled with the window stuck with fresh paint. "Operator! Operator!" Mr. Prim shouted into the telephone, and then he remembered that it was not yet connected. Whoa! Joshua, who had heard everything, raced to the front door to be greeted there by an oddly dressed man who handed him a note. "This will explain everything about the crocodile," said the man, leaving quietly but swiftly. Mr. Prim read the note. "Please be kind to my crocodile. He's the most gentle of creatures and will not harm a flea. He must have tender, loving care, for he is an artist and can perform many good tricks. Perhaps he will perform some for you. I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valentini, star of stage and screen. P.S. He will only eat Turkish caviar. P.P.S. His name is Lyle." "Turkish caviar indeed," exclaimed Mrs. Prim. "Oh, to think that could happen on East 88th Street. Whatever will we do with him?" Suddenly, before anyone could think of a worthy answer, there was Lyle. And just as suddenly he got hold of a ball that had been lying among Joshua's belongings and began to balance it on his nose and roll it down the notches of his spine. Now he was walking on his front feet and taking flying leaps. Now he was twirling Joshua's hoop, doing it so expertly that the Prims just had to clap their hands and laugh. Lyle bowed appreciatively. He had won his way into their hearts and into their new home. "Every home should have a crocodile," said Mrs. Prim. "One day, Lyle is one of the family now. He loves helping out with his chores. He won't allow anyone else to carry out old newspapers or take in the milk. He folds towels, feeds the birds, and when he sets the table, there's always a surprise. I had only to show him once how to make up a bed. People everywhere stop to talk with him. They say he is the nicest crocodile they ever met. Lyle likes to play in the park. He always goes once around in the pony cart. And he has learned to eat something besides Turkish caviar. Lyle is a good sport. Everyone wants to play on his side. He is wonderful company. We take him everywhere. Just give him his Turkish caviar and his bed of warm water, and he is happy as a bird. One day, a brass band paraded past the house on East 88th Street. The Prim family rushed to the window to watch. They called for Lyle, but there was no answer. "Look," someone pointed out. "It's Lyle. He's in the parade." There was Lyle doing his specialty somersault, flying leaps, walking on front feet, and taking bows, just as he did the first day they laid eyes on him. The people watching cheered him on, while Lyle smiled back at them and blew kisses. A photographer was on hand to take pictures. The next day, Lyle was famous. The telephone rang continually, and the bundles of mail were dropped by the door. One letter was from someone Lyle knew particularly well. Mr. Prim read it. "Just a few words to say I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valentini, star of stage and screen. P.S. Very soon. P.P.S. to fetch my crocodile." Several days later, Mrs. Prim and Lyle were in the kitchen shelling peas when they heard a knocking at the door. It was Hector P. Valentini, star of stage and screen. "I have come for Lyle," announced Signor Valentini. "You can't have Lyle," cried Mrs. Prim. "He is very happy living here, and we love him dearly." "Lyle must be returned to me," insisted Signor Valentini. "Was it not I who raised him from young crocodilehood? Was it not I who taught him his bag of tricks? We have appeared together on stages the world over. But why, then, did you leave him alone in a strange house?" asked Mrs. Prim. "Because," answered Signor Valentini, "I could no longer afford to pay for his Turkish caviar. But now Lyle is famous, and we shall be very rich." Mrs. Prim was saddened, but she knew Lyle was properly belonged to Signor Valentini, and she had to let him go. Signor Valentini had big plans for Lyle. They were to travel far and wide, stay in many hotels. Where sometimes the tubs were too big and other times too small, or too crowded. Signor Valentini did what he could to coax a smile from Lyle. He tried making funny faces at him. He stood on his head. He tickled his toes and told him uproarious stories that in happier days would have had Lyle doubled over with laughter. But Lyle could not laugh, nor could he make people laugh. He then made them cry instead. One night in Paris, he made an entire audience cry. The theater manager was furious and ordered them off his stage. Meanwhile, at the house on East 88th Street, Mrs. Prim went above her work without her usual bright smile, and deep sighs could be heard coming from behind the newspaper Mr. Prim was reading. Every morning, Joshua anxiously awaited the arrival of the mailman in hope of receiving word from Lyle. One morning, a letter did come. He knew the handwriting very well. Just a few words to say we shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valentini, former star of stage and screen. P.S. I am sick of crocodiles and the tears of crocodiles.
Mom, can I sit somewhere?
You can sit on my knee.
Okay. When you get out, and sit on your knee.
Not too many days after, the Prims were delighted to find Hector P. Valentini and Lyle at their door. "Here, take him back," said Signor Valentini. "He is no good. He will never make anyone laugh again." But Senor Valentine was very much mistaken.
Who said
Everyone
he
laughed
don't like crocodile?
and laughed and laughed. And in the end, so did Senor Valentine.
Aww.
So now if you should happen to be walking past the house on East 88th Street, and if you should happen to hear sounds that go swish, swash, splash, sploosh, don't be surprised. It's only Lyle. Lyle the crocodile. The end. Well, seems like I have some visitors. I wanted to hear about Lyle the crocodile too. He just brings a crowd every time, whether we're reading a book or he's performing in a parade. He's going to make sure that there is an audience.
Yeah.
And so I had my dog and my girl here. So I guess if you learn anything from Lyle the crocodile, enjoy what you do, love what you do, and do what you love. And if you're not happy, find your way back home to where you are. Well, that's all I have for you friends today. I'll catch you next time.
You want some fries while you being helpful?